Welcome to the first episode of Game Time with Noah and Owen. I'm Noah.
I'm Owen.
Let's start by recapping the NFL games this week. The Broncos survive in London and move to 4-2 on the season. Man, the Jets look horrible, don't they?
Yes, they do. One of the worst teams in the league.
Even Aaron Glenn admits that Justin Fields took a, quote, step back. He had a -10, yes, -10 net passing yards. The worst day in franchise history for the Jets.
And they've had some stinkers.
Oh, yeah, they definitely have. 3 field goals and a holding call that turned into a safety were the only points that the Jets were able to score. And even the Broncos looked very slow. It was just a really sloppy game overall, wasn't it?
Unfortunate stuff in London. That's why we play football here in America.
That's for sure.
In the AFC North, the Browns took on the Steelers. The Steelers were able to cruise past the Browns and move to 4-1 on the year. They seem to be running away with the division. It was a slower game for rookie running back Quinshon Judkins, however, who I remain very high on. Pick him up in your fantasy leagues if you can. Neither run game was efficient for either team. Dylan Gabriel, the rookie quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, ended up throwing for 221 yards, but couldn't find the end zone.
It's not bad.
Aaron Rodgers, the senior quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, continues his interesting year as he threw for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. Newly signed wide receiver DK Metcalf was the standout star with 4 receptions for 95 yards and a touchdown on the day.
The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Miami Dolphins ended in a slugfest. The Chargers squeaked past the Dolphins in dramatic fashion to move to 4-2 on the year. Kiamani Vidal had 18 carries for 124 yards on top of 3 receptions for 14 yards and a receiving touchdown. A big day for the RB4. Devon Achane, the RB1 for Miami, on the other hand, 16 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, along with 4 catches for 22 yards. Another huge game for the back. Tua, on the other hand, is struggling, as he has been this year. 3 interceptions on the day. Justin Herbert, however, 29 for 38, a way better completion percentage, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey, 7 receptions, 100 yards, and 1 touchdown. His first 100 game this season. Second game with a touchdown. Is Ladd McConkey back?
Ladd McConkey could be back. You mentioned that is his first 100-yard game of the season. Maybe he's stealing that spotlight back from Quentin Johnston. The Arizona Cardinals took on the Indianapolis Colts, in Indy. The Colts continued to dominate at home. They moved to 4-0. They completed the eventual game-winning drive and moved to 5-1 on the season. Kyler Murray was not active. He had a foot injury this game, but that did not matter for the Cardinals. They did put up a pretty good fight. Stand-in quarterback Jacoby Brissett threw the ball 44 times, more than Kyler really ever does it. 320 yards and 2 touchdowns, but did have an interception. The beast, the ginger beast, Trey McBride, 8 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown, looking like he will be the tight end 1 for fantasy this year.
Oh, yeah.
Other side of the football, Daniel Jones, continuing his run with the Indianapolis Colts, throws for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he did throw a pick. And the RB1 thus far. Guys ran for 600 yards so far through week 6. Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries and 123 yards and another touchdown in this game. Keep an eye on Tyler Warren, though. Probably tight end number 2, right behind the aforementioned Trey McBride. He did finish with 6 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown.
The New England Patriots took on the New Orleans Saints. Patriots make it out alive against the Saints to move to 4-2 on the season. In fact, they are first atop the AFC East for the first time since, I think, the Brady era?
A long time.
A long time. Drake May is him. 18 for 26, 261 yards, and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in this explosion of a game. Kayshon Boutte, 5 catches, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns for the wide receiver, too. Demario Douglas, 3 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown on top of that as well. Spencer Rattler seems to be settling in a little bit with the Saints. He had 22 for 26, 227, but could not find the end zone. No turnovers this week, though, for him. Taysom Hill finds the end zone. I know the Saints are very glad to have him back. And Chris Olave, 6 catches for 98 yards, and Blake Goop, 4 for 4 field goals with a 54-yarder.
That's right. The standout performer from the Saints will almost always be the kicker. Har, har. The Seattle Seahawks took on the Jacksonville Jaguars in a slow one. Seattle ended up scoring 20 and unanswered points through the second and third quarter in order to stay undefeated on the road. They moved to 4-2 this season. Sam Darnold, the Seahawks quarterback, threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver 1 on the Seahawks and another Ohio State product, had another stellar game. 8 receptions and 162 yards for a touchdown. Seattle's defense did stand out as well. They had 7 sacks, 7 TFLs, which stands for tackle for loss. That's right. Thank you. Trevor Lawrence, 27-42 on the day, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of them he did throw to the guy that I drafted in fantasy, Brian Thomas Jr., 8 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. It seems like BTJ could be finding his stride late in the Jack season. Well, we'll have to see. One thing we do know for sure, though, is that Byshell Tune, that rookie running back that they drafted as a backup, he's going nowhere fast.
He's going nowhere. The Los Angeles Rams take on Baltimore Ravens, who are depleted. The Rams moved to 4-2 on the season as they defeat an injury-filled Ravens team. The Ravens are plummeting quick.
Yes.
1-5 on the year. Cooper Rush was benched in this game for Tyler Huntley. Cooper Rush does not seem to fit this Ravens offense at all. More of a Huntley show, I think, to replace that Lamar Jackson era. Derrick Henry, though, 24 carries for 122 yards. He seems to be back to his old self, hopefully. Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the Rams, 17 for 26, 180 yards, and a touchdown. Kyron Williams doing Kyron Williams things, 13 carries, 50 yards, and a tutty, with 2 receptions for 37 yards out of the backfield. Tyler Higbee seems to be the new target for Matthew Stafford, 4 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdown, along with 4 sacks for the Rams defense. And Puka goes down in this game with an ankle injury. Hopefully it is not too serious.
Could be a developing story for the Rams there, as he does seem to be the clear-cut wide receiver 1. Duking it out with Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
One of those two, whoever stays more healthy, I guess.
Yeah.
The Titans traveled to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Vegas defeats the Titans. They move to 2-4 on the season. If you're watching football, I hope you weren't watching that game.
Yeah,
Geno Smith stinks. He threw for 174 yards and a touchdown, but he threw another interception. Ashton Jeanty, the rookie running back, had another great game. They're feeding him the rock. 23 carries, only able to churn out 75 yards, but could be because that offensive line is so bad. He did have a touchdown as well. Trey Tucker, the standout wide receiver, 5 receptions for 70 yards. Michael Mayer, standing in for the injured Brock Bowers in this game. That's right, if you have Brock Bowers, keep an eye on him. He could be hurt. Mayer finishes with 50 yards and a touchdown. Vegas' defense was the story. They had 6 sacks on the rookie Cam Ward, 2 fumbles lost and an interception on the day for Ward, only throwing the ball to Van Jefferson, who had 4 catches for 75 yards. Another player I'd like to talk about in this game, Jacoby Myers. If you have Jacoby Myers on your fantasy team, cut him. We can go ahead and move on to the next one.
On to the next. The Cincinnati Bengals traveled to Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers. The Packers win following the bye week and are now 3-1-1 and undefeated at home this year so far. Jordan Love, another solid game. 19 for 26, 260, a touchdown and an interception. However, it was the Josh Jacobs show.
Yes.
Following the bye week in Lambeau, he goes 18 carries, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. On top of that, 5 receptions for 57 yards. That is almost 140, 150 yards of total offense from the stellar running back. Tucker Kraft also found the end zone again from Jordan Love. Matthew Golden, the rookie standout, 3 receptions for 86 yards. Joe Flacco had his first start in a Bengals uniform. Solid start, I would say. Too bad you're facing the Green Bay Packers.
Made him throw the ball 45 times.
Yeah.
The meat's falling off the bone.
Oh, yeah. 29 for 45, 219, and 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase finding his stride with the new quarterback. 10 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown to end the day.
That's right. We move to the extremely injured San Francisco 49ers. That seems to be the story with this team year in and year out. They traveled to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. The Bucs did roll past the Niners in this one. They moved to 5-1 on the season. However, Niners QB standing in for Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, threw for a whole lot. He was unable to find the end zone, though, finishing with 347 yards and 2 interceptions. That's right. Never good when you throw to the other team.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries and 15 yards with a touchdown on the ground, 7 receptions and 57 yards through the air. Getting so many touches. If you have him in fantasy, you must be happy. Kendrick Bourne had another good game. 5 receptions for 142 yards. Jake Tongs, that's the tight end standing in for George Kittle, who should be coming off the IR very soon, this week or next week, had 6 receptions for 58 yards. Moving to the Bucs, possible MVP, we'll get into that a little bit later. Baker Mayfield, without his top 3 wide receivers, was able to throw for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rachaad White filled in for Bucky Irving at the running back position, carried the ball 17 times for 65 yards, and he was able to find the end zone. Sean Tucker, running back on the depth chart right behind Rachaad White, also got into the end zone. 6 sacks for the Bucs and a huge injury for the Niners in Fred Warner. Again, can't wait to get into that later.
The Detroit Lions travel to Kansas City for Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs do make a stand at home in a 13-point win over the Lions. Jared Goff, however, played pretty phenomenal. 23 for 29, 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, ton of touches out of Jahmyr Gibbs, but only 65 yards on the ground. Jameson Williams having a Jameson Williams game. 6 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. A lot of 10-plus receptions from him. Sam Laporta, another guy that loves to find the end zone, especially in the red zone. 5 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown with the weirdest stat line I've ever seen. 9 catches for only 45 yards. PPR. If you do a PPR league in fantasy, you are very happy with
9 catches is 9 catches.
Yeah.
We take 9 catches.
That is very true. On to the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes making another MVP push as well. 22 for 30, 257 yards, and 4 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing. Travis Kelce seems to be still the top target for Mahomes this year, 6 catches for 78 yards. Hollywood Brown came out of nowhere, 4 catches, 45 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So did Xavier Worthy, found the end zone as well. And then the game ending in probably Lions versus Chiefs fashion. Brian Branch knocking out Juju after the game is now suspended for 1 game without pay.
That's right. That's right. That's what happens if you do that against the Kansas City Chiefs. Against the Eagles, though, should be in good shape. Buffalo Bills travel to Atlanta. ATL Jacob. They take on the Falcons, who were able to move to 3-2 on the year after a big upset against the Bills. Josh Allen was a little careless in this one, showing his inner Brett Favre. You can't be careless with the football. It will not lead you to good places. He throws 2 picks in this one, was able to get to 2 TDs and 180 yards through the air. However, they lost the game. James Cook started the game slow, but ended with 17 carries and 87 yards. There was an equal share of receptions across the wide receiver room. That said, I would drop Keon Coleman and keep Khalil Shakir if you're able to. Michael Penix Jr. throwing the ball for 32 times, completes 250 yards and a touchdown. Bijan Robinson was the standout, though. Penix looking comfortable in the pocket. He's able to sling it out to Bijan whenever he feels like it, and he's going to pick up, in this one, 170 yards on the ground, 81 yards in the air. Monster fantasy performance.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier also found the end zone, the backup running back, and the number 1 wide receiver on the Falcons and in that division. Drake London went off. 10 receptions, 158 yards, and a touchdown for the USC product. He is a beast, and he is a guy I will be keeping my eye on for the rest of the year.
And that was the 2nd straight week he's had a monster game like that.
Real quick, I'll pitch in there. 16 targets. 16 targets for Drake London. Yeah. Those are Puka numbers.
Yeah, they are. Wrapping up Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears versus the Washington Commanders. The Commanders turned the ball over 3 times to the Bears as they drop one, 25-24 in a nail-biter. Jaden Daniels, 19 for 26, 211, and 3 touchdowns, and had a crucial interception. However, it was in the first quarter, so it wasn't too impactful. Chris Moore, Zach Ertz, and Luke McCaffrey all found the end zone. Caleb Williams for the Bears had 17 for 29, 252, and a touchdown. A solid game out of Caleb Williams. He seems to love doing that against NFC East teams. DeAndre Swift has a breakout game in primetime. 14 carries, 108 yards, along with 2 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think we all know why that happened.
175 total yards on the game. And then Jake Moody, The 49ers hated him, dropped him. The Bears pick him up, and on the practice squad, their starting kicker goes down. Jake Moody, 4 for 5, and a game winner to beat the Commanders. That was a game, wasn't it?
Some big storylines across the league include some injuries. One that we touched on earlier. Fred Warner, 3-time All-Pro linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. One of the best linebackers, if not the best linebacker in the league, has been ruled out for the season with a dislocated ankle. That's right, they took him off on a cart and in the air cast, which is not good. That usually does not mean good things. Oh.
Yeah. Left tackle Ronnie Stanley did not return in the game against the Rams, and that's just another huge hit to the Ravens, isn't it?
Super unfortunate, as they already have some other injury problems.
Already starting 1-5 too. This is not fun for Baltimore fans. However, some good news, some light. Lamar Jackson and Roquan Smith are both expected to return to action following the bye week coming up. What kind of turnaround do you expect from the Ravens granting the return of these key players?
This is one of the teams that Roger Goodell and the NFL want to be at the top of everything. They want to have them on the media pages. They want to sell Lamar jerseys. They want people to be wearing the purple and black. This is supposed to be a team that can compete with the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills, and I think soon to be, possibly, your Dallas Cowboys. No, I'm just kidding. That was funny, right? Even he's laughing.
Hilarious.
Lamar coming back is going to be huge for them, but it's also going to be bad for the other teams in the division. We might see the glory run of the Pittsburgh Steelers start to come to an end. One thing I know for sure is that the AFC playoff picture will start to heat up.
It's definitely going to be something else, isn't it?
Yep.
Puka Nacua, as we discussed earlier, had an ankle injury during the game. In the same game. A lot of injuries in that game, huh?
Yeah.
Has supposedly dodged a long-term injury and is expected to be day-to-day. Very relieving for LA fans.
Yeah, Puka coming back is going to be huge for them. Like we mentioned earlier, Puka Nacua at the top of the board in many categories. Just to name one, he has 616 yards so far this season and has... Okay. We're going to go back to what you were saying about Puka.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua coming back will be huge for the Los Angeles Rams as he is atop the wide receivers receiving yards category with over 616 yards this season.
J.J. McCarthy is also practicing again and is to be determined for Week 7. Should the Vikings rush him back, or should we be a little more patient?
I think the Vikings can be a little more patient. I understand that Carson Wentz is not exactly at the tier of, QB1 that you want, especially when you have a guy like Justin Jefferson and you have some other talented pieces, T.J. Hawkinson, that you want to get the ball. That said, I know what Wentz is capable of. That could be a little bit
firsthand.
That could be a little bit biased. But let's not forget, folks, there's an MVP hidden in there somewhere. Still, waiting to come out.
They are playing the Eagles next week.
Jordan Mason could be a start in that one.
Yeah. To be fair, they are playing Philly, so
yeah.
Best of luck with your Carson Wentz revenge game. The Titans fire Coach Callahan after a 1-5 start. I think it was about time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that offense was going nowhere, even with...
There's a couple other guys on the hot seat, too.
Yeah. Even with Cam Ward being a new young talent to look forward to, I mean, that team is...
He's got nobody to protect him. Guys like Calvin Ridley, who are supposed to be producing, Tony Pollard, they're not getting the YPC that they need, which is, for those not informed, yards per catch, yards per carry.
Yeah. Zadarius Smith, I want to talk to you about this.
No.
Yes, we are.
No.
Zadarius Smith retires unexpectedly mid-season, just out of the blue. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on your Eagles and their pass rush?
I'm hoping this has no impact on the Eagles. We have had some other injuries, which we're about to get to, foreshadowing. Zadarius Smith, though, was at one time one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and so far this season was looking like a bright spot. Just a couple weeks ago, he was quoted in the locker room after a game saying, he has plenty left in the tank. No, he does not. Zadarius Smith retired recently and will no longer be an Eagle. That's okay, though. We'll find a way to fight it out the rest of the year.
Think he's tired of Cam Skadden running him over?
I don't think it has anything to do with the Giants, which Cam Skadden is able to put his head down and run through people. When Saquon Barkley does it, he gets fined.
Some hot takes throughout the NFL. Well, just casual takes, I guess you could say. JSN looks like the best receiver in football right now. I think that he is a front runner for offensive player of the year, and I don't think the only person I think that can compete with him would be Puka Nacua or Jonathan Taylor.
Maybe. That said, I do think that JT could be the guy that will be the runaway with this award. That said, this has been a running back / quarterback award more so throughout history. Recently, through our childhood, we've been seeing many more wide receivers win this award, which does lead me, especially in recent memory, which does lead me to believe that they could be favoring a guy like JSN. Now, getting rid of Geno Smith out there in Seattle seems to be the best decision that they could have made. The guy they brought in, Sam Darnold, doesn't seem to be that much better, but just enough. He can throw the football.
I will say, there were a lot of people that were really worried about the Vikings offloading Sam Darnold because of J.J. McCarthy. And for both Seattle fans, getting Sam Darnold because they weren't sure if he was going to be a one-hit wonder. However, they made the right decision. Geno is done.
He's done. He's done. The evidence is there in Vegas. The viewers at home who have to watch the black and silver every single week are starting to feel bad for players like Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers, as he is now, like we said, battling an injury and is leaving the young back out there by himself. Jakobi Meyers not making the cut either. I talked about him earlier.
You were a fan of him. You were a fan of him early. No. We forgot how bad Geno ended up being.
No, we'll walk that back. I was never a fan of Jakobi Meyers.
Okay. A take of mine. Spencer Rattler seems to be finding a stride in New Orleans. 6 touchdowns and only 1 interception in the last 5 games. The team might be struggling, but he looks like a competent starter right now. What do we think about that?
I'm thinking that I've seen plenty of footage of Spencer Rattler in the past on the QB1 show. If you were like me and you enjoy Netflix, then maybe you tuned into QB1, you got to see some Spencer Rattler action. And he's a diva. I can't take this guy serious. I understand he's been in the NFL going on season number 3 now.
Something like that.
So he kind of feels like he's getting comfortable. Maybe he had Baker syndrome at the start and he thought that his personality was going to be too big and now he's finding his own. There are other teams and other quarterbacks to look out for. I think that Spencer Rattler could finish with a great season, but he'll never be considered that kind of quarterback for me. And when I say great season, I mean like for that division because
that division.
Let's be real, he won't ever really break the top 10.
Yeah. However, we did watch that London game, and that was probably the worst way for the NFL to promote football across the world. However, Jets are 0-6.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the slowest starts the Jets have had, and that's saying something. Is it time to clean house?
I think the Jets should have cleaned house a long time ago. The Jets are not a serious football team. Everybody knows that. Zach Wilson was a blip. You think about the Zach Wilson period, and that it doesn't even stand out. You just brush right over it. That's the sign of a terrible, terrible quarterback. It's a bad decision by the front office. Same thing with Sam Darnold's stint there. He was bad then, now he's good. But when you think of Sam Darnold, you don't think of a Jets jersey. No. Geno Smith was a Jet. Nobody ever thinks of him as a Jet. It's kind of like the Manchester United of the NFL right now. Players are going there, and they're dying. Their careers are dying. It's a shame.
It is a shame.
Free Garrett Wilson.
Yes. Free him. He's a great young talent that is just being wasted. Another
Ohio State wide receiver, Garrett Wilson.
All right, this is the part where everyone skips the YouTube video, but it's okay. The Dallas Cowboys showed why they were the worst defense in the NFL on Sunday, both stopping the run and the pass game. Rico Dowdle, the former Cowboy running back, had 239 total scrimmage yards. That's 200 plus for the second straight week for the back. And a receiving touchdown alone. That's not okay. With a terrible loss to the Panthers, 27-30, they now lose the leverage they once had with competing with the Eagles for first place. Right now, the Cowboys are currently wasting away what seems to be one of Dak's best seasons as a quarterback. Dak in the last 3 games has a total of 817 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions.
Wow.
On 71% completion.
Surely you guys are undefeated in those last 3.
Yeah, surely, except for the fact that our defense is allowing 89 points during this stretch.
Oh, no.
However, the Cowboys still sit in 3rd place in NFC East with only a game back from the Commanders.
Yes.
Dak is playing at an MVP level right now, and you can sue me. George Pickens, these are just some bright spots. George Pickens is playing like the top 5 receiver he said he was, and the one that was hiding from Pittsburgh, and is very entertaining to watch, I will add. Ryan Flanoy, yes, that's how it's said, looks like a very valuable wide receiver 3, and seems like he will end up replacing Tolbert down the road. I think Tolbert's days are done in Dallas. Another bright spot on the offense, because that's the only bright spot on this team.
Yeah.
Jake Ferguson is currently playing like a top 5 tight end. Some would say top 3, but we're not going to go there. Defensively, on the other hand, Maurice Liufau looks like a hard-hitting linebacker that could be a really good sub-linebacker or even a starter, stopping the run up the middle. Still creating turnovers, but Dak needs to score about 40 points a week to win football games, and that's just not sustainable long term. However, next week is a very important game for Dallas as they hopefully get CeeDee Lamb back, and Overshown is making great progress.
That's good to hear.
As they travel, it's a home game in Dallas to face the Commanders and take over that 2nd place spot in the NFC East.
Yes, assuming that you win against the Commanders.
I mean, the Commanders look slow too.
Yeah, the Commanders look slow, and you know who else looks slow? Your Philadelphia Eagles look a little bit slow. You know, this is a wonderful division, the NFC least. It's fun, but we have to remember that up until last year, the year before that, and the year before that, it was the best. Cut. We will do the last year, and then it's going to cut. It was the worst division in all of football. It seems like this year it has returned that way. Jackson Dart will be coming out for the New York Giants, and they'll be hoping to use him for the rest of the season after he just dismantled the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately for the Eagles, there are the same issues that keep popping up each and every year, even the years that we're able to make it in the playoffs into the Super Bowl. There are a lot of elementary school mistakes. One that stands out to me, lapses on crucial 3rd down. The Eagles' defense seems to let themselves into many 3rd and short situations in which they can't do anything. Vic Fangio throws away the playbook on 3rd down. It's very, very frustrating. And on the other side of the ball, we are getting way too many 3rd and 8s. 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. That's what I think of when I see a Jalen Hurts jersey now. I see a graphic on the field that says 3rd and 7 because we have so many yards to go. We get 3 yards on 4th and 4, punt it away.
Or you see him under center, right?
We don't. You don't see him under center.
Push,
that's the only time.
4 times in a row?
That's the only time. Yeah, and didn't it work though?
That was crazy, but boring to watch.
That's the only time that we'll put him under center is with the tush push. We made it all the way to a Super Bowl, put in Carson Wentz, and then he got hurt, and Nick Foles under center, and letting them step back, get their bearings, see the whole field. I don't think Hurts likes shotgun as much as he says he does, but we'll see. That's something else with Hurts. What's going on with the relationship between AJ and Jalen? You're talking about a whole lot of positives with the Cowboys. I'm only stuck on the negatives here with the Eagles. AJ is going to keep posting cryptic messages to Twitter, and Weird Joker edits on his Instagram account, as if any of that is supposed to convince us that he's still a top 5 wide receiver in the league. I'm afraid that the relationship could be slightly damaged, but we do have to remember, I like citing last season when the first 4 to 6 weeks we did not play well. And then all of a sudden, a switch flipped and AJ was a dog and the defense did its thing. Now, is this just early season woes? We'll have to see. I think we can put most of the blame on Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, but I also think that we can put some on the young and hurt defense. We'll be looking out for Quinyon. We'll be looking out for Jalen Carter in weeks to come. But, man, I think that we have a lot more negatives than positives over here in Philly right now.
It's not much different in Dallas.
And we're 4-2.
Yeah.
We're 4-2 atop the division. Isn't it so hard to be an Eagles fan?
It's even harder to be a Cowboys fan. I'm sorry.
I'm sure.
It's been 18 years of just suffering.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I have false hope that something will change. Probably once Jerry retires. But, we'll see.
I'm very glad that Miles Sanders, who we let go a couple years ago, has ended up with your team.
He's out for the year. He's out for the season. Now Jaeden Blue's the RB2.
Best of luck with the recovery to Miles Sanders.
Nice little switch up there. On that note, let's head out to the dugout with Danica.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to the Dugout with Danica, where the bats are hot, the takes are hotter, and unfortunately, the Phillies are not moving on. I know. Let's rip that Band-Aid off right at the top. The Titans gave us a roller coaster of a postseason, but it all ended in a heartbreak with that brutal 11th inning error by Orion Kirkering. Bases loaded, 2 outs, routine grounder, and it just got away. The Dodgers walked it off, and Phillies fans walked away stunned. You could feel the air leave Philadelphia on an already rough night for Philly sports, all the way from LA. It's the kind of loss that stings because we know this team had the firepower, but that's October baseball. Cruel, unpredictable, and somehow always unforgettable. Now around the league, here's what's cooking in the playoffs. In the American League, the Seattle Mariners are making noise. They've taken a 2-0 lead over the Toronto Blue Jays in the ALCS, fueled by clutch hitting from Jorge Polanco, who's been nails in late innings. The Jays are missing Bo Bichette, and honestly, it shows. Seattle's pitching staff looks calm, confident, and cool. Over in the National League, the Dodgers are doing what the Dodgers do, winning tight games. Blake Snell was absolutely lights out in Game 1 of the NLCS, spinning 8 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts and 0 walks. Talk about postseason dominance. And get this, one of the wildest plays you'll see this October came in that very game. Bases loaded, Max Muncy sends a rocket to deep center. Brewers outfielder Sal Frelick goes back, it bounces off the wall, pops out of his glove, and back into his glove. Absolute chaos. Dodgers base runners got confused, and somehow the Brewers turned it into an 8-6-2 double play. What looked like a grand slam turned into an inning killer. You can't make that up. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts is proving that you can't pitch around Shohei Ohtani without paying for it. Mookie's drawn multiple bases-loaded walks. Driving in runs the patient way. He's turned safe strategy into scoreboard damage. Now here's my bold prediction. Get ready for a Brewers-Mariners World Series. And I know, Dodgers fans are gonna come for me. They've been lights out, but hear me out. The Brewers have that scrappy, nothing-to-lose energy, and the Mariners, they're built for the moment. Their bullpen is nasty, their lineup is finding clutch hits, and they just feel like the team on a mission. So as much as it pains me to say, Philly's out, the postseason drama is just heating up. October baseball is delivering exactly what we live for: chaos, heartbreak, and heroics. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Danica. Now time for some basketball news. The NBA preseason kicked off 2 weeks ago with the Sixers in the first game, and they did lose to the New York Knicks, 99-84. That said, Sixers' first-round draft pick, VJ Edgecombe, finished with 14 points and 6 rebounds. He looked bouncy as ever. Electric player. Last week, the Sixers fell 128-98 to the Orlando Magic. This time, it was small point guard Kennedy Chandler who stole the show, scoring 16 points on 44% from the field. Between Kennedy Chandler and VJ Edgecombe, as well as the Sixers' big man, Adem Bona, their young core could be something to watch out for. Keep an eye on what could become one of the most dynamic backcourts in the East. Go Sixers.
The Magic are tied with the Milwaukee Bucks atop the East thus far in the NBA preseason at 3-0.
The Rockets have a bunch of promising young talent to be excited about in their system, but it was an older player, the veteran Fred VanVleet, that went down last month in a workout in the Bahamas with a season-ending ACL tear. For the Rockets, I think this will mean an extended role for Reed Sheppard, as well as Amen Thompson, having the ball in his hands much more. That guy could be an all-star this year. Both him and his brother are the 2 top picks in the NBA preseason GM draft for most likely to break out. Yes, there's
Okay.
a draft, there's a GM poll that goes around, and Tim Bontemps reports it on Hoop Collective, and if you check into that, you will see that the Thompson twins are very, very high up on GM's ladders this year. Amen Thompson for the Rockets. Amen Thompson actually became the betting odds favorite on most sports books as most improved player for the upcoming season after that injury. Not to mention, the Rockets also signed Kevin Durant.
That was a big signing.
Yeah, the biggest.
That'll definitely shake up the West just a little bit.
I'm hoping that they're atop the West, but who knows? The Thunder are still here.
Yeah. The homecoming tour in Portland has been canceled.
Yes.
Damian Lillard will be out for the entire season after undergoing an Achilles surgery. However, Scoot Henderson will be out for the first 8 weeks of the season after partially tearing a hamstring. Speaking of an Achilles injury, Jason Tatum was ruled out for the upcoming season back in April. Kristaps Porzingis, if he can stay healthy this year, made a big move to Atlanta in the offseason. So expect a depleted version of the Boston Celtics this year. I put them at number 6 in the East. Porzingis and the Hawks, however, could easily finish top 3. Dimer Trae Young and his defensive mastermind counterpart, the vacuum, Dyson Daniels, will look to lead the Hawks along with their young star, Jalen Johnson, and newly acquired 3-and-D man, Keel Alexander-Walker. Similar to Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton will be out for the NBA season.
Ooh. Similar to Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton will be out for the entire NBA season. Think back to the NBA playoffs last year, Game 7, Oklahoma City, and you'll remember the horrible scene that unfolded. Halliburton's Achilles gave out right there on the biggest stage after an extremely hot start. He had 9 points, 3-3. His Indiana Pacers will also be without TJ McConnell and Cam Jones for the first month of the season. The New Orleans Pelicans hope to have back flashy guard DeJounte Murray before New Year's Eve as he recovers from an Achilles injury as well.
A lot of Achilles
I
injuries.
know, man. It's getting worse and worse. Sixers guard Jared McCain underwent thumb surgery in September, and the timeline is... Isn't that funny?
This is probably the funniest injury that I saw this offseason.
Sixers guard Jared McCain underwent thumb surgery in September. The timeline is TBD. The Wizards also have some young talent with thumb issues, as Bilal Coulibaly, a tremendous defender, will be further evaluated for his injury this week. There's more preseason action coming. There's some tonight, there's some later in the week. That'll do it, though, for the NBA.
Now we're going to kick it to Owen for some extra time.
There was no Premier League action this weekend. Arsenal remains atop the table with Liverpool close behind. Chelsea are into 7th place with a big win last time out against Liverpool. They will actually travel to Nottingham to take on Forest at 7:30 in the morning this Saturday. Go Chelsea, that's right. Surprise team Bournemouth have started the season in incredible form, finding themselves tied with Tottenham for 3rd in the table with 14 points, led by striker Antoine Semenyo, who has 6 goals in his first 6 games. Erling Haaland of 5th place Manchester City has started out this season on an absolute tear, scoring 9 goals through the first 7 games of the season. He's also scored for his 10th game in a row over the weekend in a friendly for his home club, Norway. In that game, Haaland finished with a hat-trick. Other strikers across the Premier League have struggled a bit, such as Alexander Isak and Yohan Wissa. They're off to rocky starts. They're trying to get their footing at new clubs this season. Some other players who also made moves in the offseason that we should be paying attention to in the Premier League are Jack Grealish at Everton and João Pedro at my Chelsea. Both of these guys seem to be clicking through match week 7, but there's still a lot of soccer left to be played. That will do it for this week's Extra Time. Tune in next week for more Premier League news. I'm Owen.
I'm Noah.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's rendition of Game Time.
Hopefully you guys tune in next week.